Y'all ever get a work message from someone and be like, you know what, actually, I'm not dealing with this. So instead what we're going to do today is we're going to knit a hat and hope that this yarn is not too thick. So today what we're going to be talking about is the thing that everyone made a video about literally like a year and a half ago. Like, do you remember last summer everyone was obsessed with these things? I have two of these. I have the big one and the little one. I do think I prefer the little one to the big one. But I did buy this one first, which is why he's kind of beat up and ugly. I also added my own handle to him because I feel like this is not very ergonomic. Like, you're supposed to just be able to set it down, but I don't know. I don't feel like that's comfortable. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So first, let's get into a little bit of history and then what we're going to talk about. So first, let's talk about what the history of knitting is. So knitting is the process of using two or more needles to pull and loop yarn into a series of interconnected loops to make a garment or a finished type of fabric. The oldest knitted artifacts that we have are socks from Egypt, which are dating from the 11th century. What's really cool about these, all this is from Wikipedia, by the way. What's really cool about this is the socks that we found have complex color work, a little specialty short heel, like that, and it's both knits and purls, which means that, like, this is a very complex sock. So that means that, like, this is probably not the first sock someone ever knitted. Like, you're not coming out of the gate out here knitting a fancy sock as your first knitting project. Which I find really crazy that there are so many things that we've been doing for so long, and, like, knitting is one of them. So what we did is we made machines for it. So again, on the Wikipedia, a knitting machine is a device used to create knitting fabrics in a semi or fully automated fashion. This is semi-automated because we still have to be, oh, hello, are you coming to say hello to me? Please don't drink my coffee. Please don't drink my coffee. Okay. There's a couple different types of these. So you can have flat ones, which you've probably seen where you just there's round ones and all sorts of different sizes. They can also be single board or double board, which I think is really interesting. So like the double board ones are for like knitting and purling together to make more complicated stuff like a cable knit, while a single one will only do like a stocking net knit. I want a big flat one. I think it'd be cool. I don't need it. I just want it to be neat. So I guess a question that I have for like a lot of art things is how much automation is too much. Like, when does it stop being art? Because like, I'm deciding how long it is. I'm deciding what yarn to use. I can add stuff to it at the end. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, there is definitely a line of like too much automation, because like, is making Legos art? I don't know. And I guess the other question is like on that line of like how much automation is no longer art is why do people use knitting machines instead of just knitting by hand? And I guess first we'll talk about like what are the cons of this machine and why like most people hand knit instead of using a machine. These can be kind of hard to start using. Like, if you've never used it before, it can be kind of complicated to figure out how to use them. And obviously, the more complicated the machine, the higher the startup cost is. Most, like, home use machines cannot do something like a cable knit. Like, you'd have to do that by hand. Some industrial ones can do it. The other thing too is the machines, again, the commercial, like the home available ones, not the industrial ones, cannot make a finished garment start to finish. So it only can do parts of your work for you. The other thing is like, they are very, like, these needles in here, these little needles, these are only one size. Like, you only can do so much, so many, like, weights of yarn with a particular machine due to just, like, the physical limitations of the machine. Like, I can't do a really thick yarn in here. I can go pretty thin, but, like, honestly, I'm kind of worried that this gauge is going to be too thick. We're going to find out. So, with all that said, and, like, while we can do this all by hand, why do we use a machine? This can save so much time. If you have a bunch of, like, I just want to do a stockinette stitch over and over and over again, this is so much faster. I can make a hat with this from start to finish in under 30 minutes. It's a lot gentler on your hands and your wrists versus, like, again, knitting 30 rows of stockinette knit. This is a lot more gentle. This can also be a really nice way to introduce somebody into knitting. So if you've never knitted at all, this can be a lot more approachable for people to learn how to knit versus other things that can be a little bit more intimidating, like learning how to knit with needles. This is also just really nice if, like, you want to, like, just relax and zone. The other point that I want to make before we get into making a hat is this is all for knitting. There is not a crochet machine. Crocheting cannot be duplicated by a machine as of now. Maybe one day it can be, but I think that's really interesting that crochet is only able to be done by human people. I think it's cool. Knitting we can digitize though, so pros and cons, but I think it's cool. Okay, so next what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to use it, and then we're going to make a hat, and then I'm going to show you some other things that I've made with the smaller one just so you can see what the difference is. I do not have, like, an affiliate link or paid sponsorship or whatever, as you can probably tell because my machine is dirty and covered in clay. But these machines are pretty cheap. I think this is only like $30. It can't be more than $50. So if you're interested in this, one, look at your Facebook Marketplace and a Goodwill. See if somebody has bought it, used it once, and didn't like it. But I think it's been totally, like, both of these purchases have been totally worth it. I've definitely gotten my money's worth out of both of them. Alright. So now we're going to transition into how to use it. So to use your knitting machine, this is specifically for these round ones. A flat knitting machine will have different instructions. So I'm using the Centro knitting machine. And this is, I don't know what the official name of this size is, but there's also a smaller one. It works pretty much the same way except it's smaller. So I'm going to move the camera real fast so we can look at this together. And okay. So this machine is actually pretty fully complete by itself. You don't actually need a lot of other tools. I do recommend, though, an embroidery needle, which these machines come with if you buy new. You can use whatever one you want, though. Like, if you just lose this, just get another one. Like, I think this one's actually from my other knitting machine. I also recommend literally any kind of scissors. You do not need a fancy little seam ripper scissors like these. You could probably use genuinely kitchen shears and it would be fine. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh. You also probably don't need this. And again, the machine kits normally come with this, but just a little crochet hook. Again, not anything in particular, just a crochet hook small enough to fit in here in case something gets stuck. Oh, yarn. You might need yarn to make a hat. I don't have the exact gauge numbers of what you should use for this machine or the smaller machine or whatever machine you might end up getting. So just Google it. I'm sure it exists on like Pinterest and stuff. All right, so we have all of our materials. We're gonna untangle our yarn. And now let me talk to you a little bit about the machine itself. So it has a couple different components that we're gonna want to use. So first we have this ring, and each of these rings have a little needle on the inside, like this. And this is the part, oh, my nails are so gross, don't judge me. This part is the part that'll move up and down to actually make the knit. This little opening right here is our yarn feed, and we'll feed our yarn into the circle. Down here, and you can see mine's, oh, sorry I got so much phlegm, y'all. You can see I bent the shit out of mine. This is your tension gauge. I think you really only need to use this last one. I've never used the other two. Also, if you break this, they just sell this piece by itself and you can just replace it. You technically don't need it. Like, it's not gonna not work if you don't have it, but it does make it a lot easier to have a proper tension on it. The next thing here is the switch. So this is for a tube and this is for a panel. So we're gonna set it on tube because we're gonna make a hat, and a hat is just a closed tube. The panel is really nice. I've used this to like make sweaters and stuff. It's a very fun, easy sweater to make. And then lastly, this is just a nice little feature. It has a row counter, which is very nice. So those are, and there's legs, but I mean, you're not doing anything with the legs. Legs are legs, you know? Whee. Whee. Okay, so now to get started with our machine, yarn goes in the middle for our beginning roll. We take the end of our yarn, we're gonna just hold it. We're gonna start on our center one. So see how this one's a different color from the rest of the circle? This is your starting one. Make sure our machine's zeroed out. Yay. And then you're gonna start under and then slowly rotate and go over and then under. Whee! Just keep repeating it. I like to keep this row a little loose just so nothing pulls weird. And it's also gonna roll up into the hem, so like it doesn't have to be perfect. I know this is riveting, but I think having a video of it a couple times can be nice. Just so it's a little easier to see like where all the pieces go. I also feel like this is a really great Christmas present, like if you have somebody who's kind of artsy but not like crazy into knitting or crochet. Or maybe if they're really into crochet, you could get them a knitting machine for them to play with. But like a hardcore knitter might be like, this is stupid. But I don't know. I guess it just depends if they're judgy or not. And again, like I'm not going for like a particular tightness or looseness. I'm just kind of like eyeballing it what I think won't catch. Okay. And then we go eep. Okay, so now we're back at our one position. We've tucked this string under. We'll take the rest of our yarn out. So leaving ourselves a nice little gap, we're gonna thread it into the feeder. Pretty easy, like that. I think this yarn gauge will work. Normally if I struggle to get it into the gauge, it's not gonna work, but I think this will be fine. and we put it down in our tension. Again, I almost always use this last one. I find that these two are too small and too tight for most of the stuff I make, but play with it, see what works for you. I'm going to do the first row slow motion, and then I'm going to do a time lapse for the rest of it. Once you get about 2 or 3 rows done, you are totally set and good, and the machine should just work. I will do some troubleshooting stuff if we do have any issues with it. Let's just spin. Oh, I'm spinning it backwards, so my count went the wrong way. That's okay. Left-handed people be like. And so the yard just catches. And you just go through. Okay, and that's the first row done. Everything looks good. It looks even throughout the whole thing. Nothing's pulling or making weird noises. Normally, if you're making a weird noise, like, it'll kind of feel difficult to pull, or like it'll make, you know, plastic on plastic grinding noises. But everything seems to be just going. So I'm going to do a bunch of rows of this in slow-mo, and I'll see you back when we are ready to... So we're about to be done. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our end, which is our white one, our different colored one. Whee! What we're going to do is we're going to take the, so we have all of our beautiful things. It's very lovely. I do have, I think it's rolled. I don't know how easy it's going to be to see it. I do, oh, actually, did it fix itself? Oh, I wanted to show you guys. Oh, no, it didn't. Okay. We have a little bit of skipped stitches here, so I'm going to show you how I fixed that. I'm actually really glad that this happened because I wanted to show you guys. This is a very common issue, especially in a start of a garment. Just something didn't quite catch, so we're going to fix that once we're done getting it off the machine. So we take our thread, we pull it all the way out, we put everything back in the middle just for ease. And we do one more spin. So, am I pulling it too tight? There. This is what I'm saying. It's not quite ergonomic. I do wish it was a little, like, easier. Because, like, I need to use both hands. I don't know. And, like, it came with little suction cups. But, like, that really limits you that, like, you can't do anything deep. Okay. So now everything has gone off. And you can see right here, actually, I don't know. We'll see. So you can see here, the thread has come off the needle. So it is starting to come out, which is exactly what we want. So what we're going to do now, you can leave this attached or not. I find it a little easier to cut it, which now I've totally lost my scissors. This is actually very common and very funny. Fuck it, come on. Okay. Whew. So then, now where's my embroidery needle? Is it real? Did I put it back? I did. I'm so smart and organized. So we take our thread, we put it into our embroidery needle, and we're just gonna kind of try to catch all the ends like that. Okay, very weirdly, I burned the end of it, and it smells like popcorn. I don't know what that means. We just come through, and then you can spin it to loosen them, but I find, like, I spin very slowly and spend more time picking it off, because the thing that I find personally hard with this is if you spin too fast, a lot of stitches will come off at once, and you can very easily miss one. So I tend to go a little slower here and just use the point of the needle to dig through. like this. And you just keep going. This, I think, is the longest and most time-consuming part of this. But it's also... Oh, by the way, this is only to finish it if you're making a hat. You will do something different if you want something like a scarf or a panel or whatever. But I want to make a hat. So. And so see, now it's starting to get a little tight. It's a little hard to pull stitches off, so I'm going to just give it a little spin. Just a little. Because I really don't want to yank too hard on it because it just gets so difficult, you know? You can also make this less difficult by leaving yourself a longer tail. I'd probably cut this a little short. That's okay. We'll figure it out. Because, like, you can do all this off the machine, too, if you want. Just kind of pulling. Give yourself a little more wiggle room. I personally like to keep it on the machine, just so that way I know I don't miss anything. But, like, as you can see, I'm kind of struggling, and that's okay. So we keep going. Right about now, I'm like, ooh, should I have time-lapse this for the suffering? But I think it's fine. As again, I think having a bunch of examples of how to do this is nice. If any of these are stuck, you can spin it to loosen it, or you can try to use your crochet hook to hook them out. But they should just come out. They should be on the top of your needle. They should just be ready to pop off. See, like that one, I didn't even touch it and it came off. Whee! All right, we're coming to the end here. Well, closer, I guess. We still have some, but that's okay. Hello.
Do you remember when we got Little Caesars?
I think last Thursday.
Last Thursday.
I think.
So that pizza that's in there should still be good, yeah?
Probably.
Yeah, I might get some pizza.
I found Supreme Pizza.
Okay, so now because I made my tail kind of short, there are definitely still some that are not in this ring. So we just want to go through and catch them all and make sure that we have as few skipped ones as possible. And listen, it's because this is going to be a hat, it is okay if we miss one or two. We just want to try to catch as many of them as we can. And this is also why I said it's easier to just do this on the machine. Okay, I think that's everyone. So now here's the fun part. We go like this, and we go, oop. We go, woo. And pull it tight. And then there, you can't really tell that we missed anything. And it gives us like a nice little like kind of star shape, which is cute for Christmas. And then I like to make sure that this is secure, so I put my embroidery needle back on. And then I just do, I'm going to go through and then flip it so I'm on the inside. Inside. And you can use either side. There's no real sidedness. I tend to like this part, which I guess would be I guess it's technically the inside. I don't know. I like that pattern better. But yeah, just a little stitch to pull tight. Great. Okay. So this is, I mean, like you'd weave in that end, but this would be technically done. And I'm actually pretty happy with this. Very cute. But here we have some drop stitches. So I'm just going to show you how I fix those. I'm going to be real. Oh, my hat. Ah! Throwing everything. This is maybe not like the best way to fix it, but this is what I found works really well. So you're going to take it. You're going to find what is the last like missed loop, or I guess the first missed loop. And you're going to just try to kind of like reconnect it. So you're going to go under your loop. It's right here. This is my problem child right here. You're going to skip a line, come down, hook. Wow. And then same thing. Skip, hook, skip, hook, skip, hook. And as you can see, once it gets down here where it's a little bit wider, it's a little more ornery, but that's fine. Just keep going. Skip, hook. And we come back, and now we can see that this is where one of the loops are. So we come in, we're going to tuck it into the loop, back into the knit, like that. And then a finishing one. I will say, like, so like this is probably fine as is. Like you could probably just leave it. If I can get my hook back out. Whatever. You could probably leave it like that and it would be fine. I like to just take a little bit of thread, yarn, and just give it like just a little more support so it doesn't pull back through. So just like a knot on it just to keep it a little more aligned with where it should be. I'll cut this one off instead of burning it. Okay. And then, so you can see that that pulled through and fixed that row. And that was actually pretty structural, so that fixed a lot of it, but we still have a couple more to do, so we'll just do it again. Come on. Goodbye. Goodbye. Come on. So again, oops, throw shit, man. We start, I'm gonna actually do this bigger hole over here. And so like, I don't really see where that loop went, so I'm just gonna take this guy and then we can keep going, same thing. So skip, well actually this one is actually a lot smaller than I thought. It's okay. Yeet. Kind of just crocheting it back. So dumb. I thought I was trying to yank on that like it was a crochet hook. I was like, why is this not coming off? Because it's not a crochet hook. And again, just like, I don't think you need this, but I like to have a little bit of extra support and just kind of, you know. And then we chop chop. With my scissors that don't work. Okay. And so like this is already a lot more structural than what it was before. I'm actually pretty, I think it might just, no, we gotta fix that one. We gotta fix that one. This is like, I think the last one I want to fix. I'm not super worried about those two holes, but this one, that's not great. Sorry if this isn't like the best. I'm like actively trying to fix he. But yeah, so that's a lot more. And you can keep going and tighten all those rows up. I'm going to be so real. I'm not that concerned because I'm going to just roll this hem. And then they're pretty secure. Alright, so last step, we got to come in and pull our tail in. You can weave this in however you like to weave in your ends. Again, I'm going so easy, so simple, so chill. I'm just going to come in. Wee. Wee. And just do a little knot just to pull him in. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. No. I don't like it. I'm unhappy about the situation. Hello. There we go. All right. So this is totally a finished hat. Very wearable. I'm going to do one last thing though. Just this is a thing I like to do on hats. I also only have like this much yarn left, and that's not enough to do anything with, but enough I feel bad about throwing it away. So I'm going to make a big pom-pom. I like to go like this. And like they do sell pom-pom makers, but this is my opinion. This is not gospel or anything, but like I really feel like pom-pom makers are so overrated because they don't automate the hard part. Because, like, I can wrap a thread around anything, you know what I mean? But that's my opinion. If you find pom-pom makers useful, hell yeah. Also, because I was lazy and didn't card this, it's very tingly. But it's okay. Alright, we wrap. We wrap. We wrap. I'm going to leave a long tail. And then I like to tie around the middle, nice and tight. It has such like a burnt nut smell from the burnt end. I don't know what that means. But like it really smells like roasted almonds or something. Does that mean it's cyanide and I'm gonna die? Maybe. Okay, so this is a very ugly pom-pom. So we make he less ugly. This might take a second because these scissors are beans. I feel like I'm just dragging a butter knife through this. Do I have anything else? The answer is no. All right, we suffer. Normally you just kind of run scissors through this and it just works, but here we are, suffering.
So it's done.
I wasn't expecting this part to take so long. Anyways, all I'm doing is cutting the ends up. I'll be back. I gotta go get scissors. Okay, pom-poms. And then, so I just like to take a piece of thread and embroiderize it. Bro, what time is it? Okay. So then I kind of try to find like that middle part that's the wrap and the secure part. And you can kind of just stab it through the middle if you can't find it. Just kind of like, you know? And then again, just kind of like a nice little knot somewhere. Just so you don't lose anything. Like so. Like so. I double knot everything just because I worry. I'll tell my therapist about it, see what she says. Okay. Are we secure? No. Ugh. I'm really trying to find that securing band in the middle, but I'd be struggling, dog. I think I found it. There we go. Much more secure. Okay. And then I kind of go through the hole in the middle, and then I take this. Whee! Come on. Whee! Nice. And this part's completely extra. You do not need to put a pom-pom or tassels or anything on the end of the hat if you don't want to. Or, like, you know, if the recipient of the hat won't like them. But, again, I had extra thread, and I don't want to just, you know, not... I don't want to throw away a handful of yarn, but I also, like, don't have anything to use for it. And there we go. One finished homemade hat in about 30 minutes. Oh, he's a little loose. It's okay, we tack it down a little bit. There we go. Hell yeah. I think that's really all I have for y'all. We're just doing a little quickie today, and I will see y'all in the next one.